Hey everybody, how you doing? Mikey's back with a chew review. I haven't done a chew review in a while, so I figured it's about time. I was in on a favorite local smoke shop, which dangerously placed now. My new store I'm going to be working in is literally right next door to her smoke shop. So, a nice lady runs the place, family-run business, little small shop. Pleasure to deal with. You know, just let me know if you want something special. I can bring it in for you. Just let me know. She knows I have a YouTube channel, so she's more than happy to honor special requests to the best of her ability, and that's great. Anyway, beech nut wintergreen was in the shop the other day, and she had some beech nut. She hasn't had this in stock for a while. Oh, you got some beech nut in? Yeah, all I got it was the wintergreen though. I sold out of everything else. Okay, I'll take a pouch. No problem. So anyway, beech nut wintergreen. Established 1897. Quality made it famous. Regular beech nut has red and white. Their wintergreen has the green and white. On the back, you pretty much got the same thing. On the flap, it's got the Flavor Saver resealable package. On the flap, right there, smooth, refreshing taste. On the bottom, is where we got all of our information. This is distributed by National Tobacco. National Tobacco, the same people that bring you Stokers, and they also are the distributors of Free and Alp nicotine pouches, among others. Distributed National Tobacco Company. Maker of fine tobacco products, Louisville, Kentucky. Underage sale prohibited. Sale only allowed in the United States. Leaf content, domestic, no less than 7%. Foreign, no more than 93%. You'll run into that almost exclusively with chews. Chewing tobacco, for some reason, they go with a lot of imported product. I believe it's just the type of leaves they're looking for. Either the American market sucks up, either they don't grow much or some other manufacturing process sucks up the supply, so they go with foreign imported tobacco. And has their 1-800 number and the handy dandy barcode. This does have a date code on it, which I have no idea how to read. It's located right here in the foil. It's soft, it's pliable. I'm assuming it's pretty darn fresh, mainly because she was sold out of it for a while and in the last several weeks has gotten it back in. So unless it's been sitting on the distributor shelf for quite some time, it's should be a pretty safe bet to say that it's relatively fresh. And this does have a zip top in the bag. It's not just a folded over foil. They actually have a zip top. And the zip top is engaged. So the contents are going to be fresh. And yes, they are. Getting slight wintergreeny aroma, as well as the sweet chew type aroma they're used to. Beech nut prides themselves in being not too sweet, not too bitter. They try to strike balance in their flavoring. So that's the kind of their claim to fame. There's your money shot. A lot of leaves. It's not real moist, but it is moist and pliable. Let me dig down the bottom of the bag. I've noticed a lot of times if you get a pouch of chewing tobacco, the stuff at the bottom is going to be a little more moist, mainly because gravity has taken charge. So I always like to grab a bag and I stir it up a little bit just to get some of the more moist bits from the bottom mixed in with maybe some of the drier stuff that's been sitting on top. Because as it sits, all the good goopy stuff kind of gravitates towards the bottom. This is not an incredibly moist, but it is very pliable. It does have some stickiness to it. It is tacky, it is pliable, but it's not goopy. So it's a very nice, moist, pleasant. Got some brown bits and a couple of blonde highlights in there, mainly brown. Nothing outrageous. It'll take a minute for it to juice up. It's been quite a while since I've tried Beech Nut Wintergreen. So I'm kind of curious to see if it's like I remember. Kind of get it sealed back up nicely. Okay. A lot like I remember it. It's got the sweet, molassesy type flavor you're used to in chew. It's not as sweet as a lot of others. They tone back the sweetness in the molassesy part. I got a stem sticking up in my thumb. Yeah, there we go. Got it out of there. The wintergreen flavor is pretty mild. Getting that nice sweet chewing tobacco flavor. I'm actually getting some of the tobacco flavor because the sweetness is, scaled back a bit. Like a little stem or a roll of it that keeps wanting to stick up there, and it's annoying. Gnaw on it a bit, mash it down. Yep. It's got the sweetness, got the molassesy. It's not overly what you would call raisiny. Not too much of that. But it does have that nice molassesy type sweetness to it. It's not as sweet as some of the others that are out there, kind of allowing the tobacco to do its thing. The wintergreen flavor, it's present, but it's very mild. It's not in your face wintergreen. It's not giving you a wintergreen burn or anything. It's just a nice, mellow, mild, pleasant wintergreen flavor. Mainly kind of catching that in the aftertaste, the wintergreen. So anyway, yeah. All in all, it's beech nut. Not too sweet, not too bitter, not too much of the wintergreen flavor. They just try and strike a nice neutral balance, which is what they go for. It's kind of, beech nut used to pride themselves in their advertising, well balanced, not cloyingly sweet, not harsh and bitter from just straight tobacco. They kind of try and strike that nice middle part going in there. Now it's juicing up quite well. I am getting a little bit more of the wintergreen. Like I said, it's a very, very subtle wintergreen. It's not a wintergreen burn. It's not in your face. It's just a nice, pleasant, subtle wintergreen undertone. It's not taking away from the tobacco or the sweetness. It's complementing it. All in all, beech nut. If you don't like the overt sweetness of some chews, beech nut might be worth a try. It's not too much of the sweetness, and it kind of balances with the tobacco a little bit. Sometimes you get a little bit of a little bitter twinge when the tobacco kind of comes through, but the sweetness is just enough to compensate for that. So you get a nice, pleasant chew experience without getting that whole raisiny molasses overflow in your mouth that you accompany with some other chews. So, all in all, pretty solid product. It has to be. It's been around for over 100 years. And you don't last that long unless you're doing something right. So, yeah. Beech nut, smooth, refreshing taste. They nailed it. quality made it famous. Yeah. If you're ever into collecting tobacco memorabilia, there's a whole bunch of beech nut stuff out there. And it was back in the heyday. It was a very well known brand, very, very, very well known brand, and they advertised the living daylights out of it. Baseball cards, signs, placards, matchbooks, mugs, hats, pins, handkerchiefs, all kinds of advertising for Beech Nut. Even some posters with baseball players, endorsing their product. So yeah, it's been around for quite some time. Can't go wrong with Beech Nut. And I woke up this morning to the news, and there is a whale beached about 2 hours north of here. Apparently, he got wrapped up in some crabbing gear and got beached. Some people went out, cut away the ropes and stuff that it was tangled in, and now they're all trying to figure out how to get it back in the water because it got washed up on high tide. And when the high tide came back up, apparently it's rolled over a couple of times, but when it rolls over, it's rolling further up the beach instead of further down the beach, and they're trying to figure out how to get it to go back to the water before it dies or something bad happens. Back in the 70s, 1970, the 55th anniversary of the Great Exploding Whale. It happened just outside of Florence, Oregon, which is about an hour and a half north of here. A dead whale washed up on shore, and they're trying to figure out how to get rid of it. And for some reason, the job fell through the Department of Transportation to get rid of the dead whale. And they tried, they weren't sure how they couldn't get their heavy equipment in there to push it back into the water. They couldn't take the time to bury it. So some guy got the brilliant idea, hey, let's put a bunch of dynamite around this sucker and just blow it up. And the smaller little bits and the seagulls will have a feast and it'll be gone. And that's exactly what they did. They took hundreds and hundreds of pounds of dynamite, put it all around it, stuffed it or underneath it, inside it, who knows what. Film crews were there. Spectators were there. They moved them back to what they thought was a safe distance. And they blew up the whale. What they did not anticipate was the carnage that would follow. They blew up the whale. Big pink spray whale going everywhere. It blew chunks so far away that people were several hundred yards back in the parking lot. Chunks of whale blubber were falling from the sky. A couple of cars got nearly destroyed or completely destroyed by huge chunks of dead, stinky whale landing on the roofs of their cars. Try explaining that to your insurance company. Yeah. Yeah. And remember, this whale had been dead for a couple of days. Whales aren't exactly aromatic to begin with. And when they die, they get really, really rank. Yeah, dead fish, stinky, beyond stinky. People were running for cover as bits of foul-smelling whale were raining from the sky. The stench on the beach was unbearable. Imagine chunks of whale, most of them pretty small, but every now and then you get a larger chunk falling from the sky. People are panicking, running for their lives. But they got rid of the whale. Seagulls had a feast. And apparently that beach stunk for quite some time with all the little bits of rotting whale that were now scattered over several hundred yards of beach and sand dune. Yeah, Google the exploding whale in Oregon. You'll see several YouTube videos chronicling the newscast of when it happened. Strange, but true. Yes, there is such a thing as the exploding whale. Happened in 1970, just a couple hours north of here. Yeah. Like I said, try explaining that to you. Well, I was just in the parking lot and this huge chunk of whale blubber fell from the sky and destroyed my car. And the insurance company's like, right. Falling whale. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Google that up if you want to. If you want to laugh, check that out. That's hilarious. To this day, that reporter, that's his claim to fame. People always want to talk to him about the exploding whale. It got to the point where he almost didn't want to go out in public anymore and talk about the exploding whale. But yeah. These days, the Department of Transportation does not deal with dead whales. Other agencies take care of that. I wonder why. But yeah. Anyway, beech nut, wintergreen, sweet, but not too sweet. Wintergreeny, not too wintergreeny. It's a very mild wintergreen. Enjoyable chew. Can't really complain about it. All in all, a very pleasant experience. And it is one of the more common chews you will find. And do a little searching, you'll probably find a smoke shop or a gas station that actually carries it. So anyway, I will catch you all later with another Dip, Chew, Stew, Snuff, or alternate product review. Until then, you all take care. God bless, and watch for falling chunks of whale blubber. Take care. Bye.